let's do that. Let's start with reviewing that from yesterday. So all it was is I was bearish on the indices, specifically NQ. It reached below this low into previous day low, right? So look at that 15 minutes. So we notice that we do get that move lower off the open, right? We talked about that. And then I was looking for a reversal. Since YM was the strongest asset, if I'm looking long, do I want to focus on NQ or YM or ES? Who can answer? Not NQ. NQ is the weakest. So if I'm looking long, I don't really want to focus on the weakest asset. Now, I don't want to focus on YM either because it already expanded and took out the high. This is where we can get consolidation. So that's why I looked for ES, right? So at this time, we have this. We have an SMT there, SMT here, right? Because it's right there. So then I have what? A candle 2 closure here. So what would I be looking for here? For price to respect the upper half of this area and trade higher. Okay. So then all I did, I went to the 1 minute here and I'm like, okay, well, if I want to take a long, I want to be long before what? Before all these highs are taken out, right? This is the target. But what am I noticing? All these equal highs right here, that could give a reaction as well. Right, so I'm just looking at that. I'm like, okay, I need to be long and get 2R to there. And what do I want to wait for? The new open of the new candle. So here we get an open of a new candle. It trades lower. Now, am I going to trust it leaving these failure swings? No, right? Okay, well, I have an SMT with NQ. Great. Do I trust it yet? Can I take a position on this? Who can say? No. Right? Because it's not confirmed. It could just trade lower again. There is the SMT, right? So I wait for what? Well, we can remove this now because it's shown on the indicator. I wait for a confirmation, right? Do we close through this area? Right? So taking a look, next candle does. This is where I was logging into my broker. So I actually wasn't, I'm not going to take that on the close either because generally I want 2R before that. So I trust my stop on the body. I just moved it down. I actually got in somewhere right around here by the time I got logged in because the next candle came lower. So then I just entered and then took some off at 2R, which is basically right over the highs. Right. So took some off at 2R, took a little bit more off here. And when I mean a little bit off, by the time we hit here, I still have 50% of my position left, just with how I was managing it. And then I'm holding for this, right? Okay. Opens a new candle, goes. I did not get filled on this order here, okay? So my whole thing is, okay, am I going to be greedy, hold for this to hit, or am I going to give up potentially all the rest of this, right? So I just exited here on the next candle. I'm like, whatever, half a point. I don't really care, right? So then I had a very little bit left, right? So now I exited almost all my position. I'm just holding a few runners. And then I see this, right? We have a consolidation. We go here. I'm thinking, all right, if we get in a sweep and a V-shaped reversal, then we can continue higher from there, right? So I then move my stop loss to this because I consider this a protected low because it swept out lows, closed over the down close candles, and it came back and stopped me out right here, right? In whatever 1.5 points of profit. Like what is that, 1R? Why did you put your stop loss there and not at the lowest point? For me, is because using this whole range down, I didn't want to see 50% of that hit and the bodies still cover that. And the main thing is I'm trying to pull more R out of that because to these initial highs, not getting 2R really with that stop loss. But it was just more of a discretionary thing, which I accepted the fact that yes, I could get stopped out and then it goes, but I don't want to see price reach below there, right? How much R did I realize on the trade? I think it was like 3 something. Something like that, 3 something. Reason I'm looking at the continuous contract. I always just use the continuous contract, personally. I don't ever have to worry about rolling all of that. Do I trade on the continuous contract? Yeah, if I execute on the continuous contract, it just puts my order through to the different contract. Yeah, I just trade right on the continuous. Yep. All right. YM took a low. Not much going on. But yeah, that was it for me, that trade. This is not looking amazing. Gonna chop around before Fed rate. I was gonna ask if you already answered. I just joined the stream, but on that trade, what was the 15-minute for? I was confused since the hourly was for the CISD. There was no CISD on the hourly, actually. Go back to the hourly. I didn't let this candle. Oh, no, I did let it close, yeah. Did I? No, I didn't. I didn't let this candle close. So I was actually trading the reversal candle in here. So really, it's like when I go daily 4 hour 15, I was going hourly 15-minute for the swing point. So this is kind of my bias where we have this swept, right? Candle 2, small wick, supports expansion higher. Then I'm using 15-minute as a swing point. I was using the 15-minute for swing point. Don't know if it's a dumb question. There's not dumb questions. But what do you... How do you know which... Wait. How do you know which one is going to cause price to reverse or new phase? I've seen where price hits a failure swing and reverses the other. What do you mean exactly? You're gonna have to be a little bit more specific. Do you trade a specific time each day? I usually trade New York session, but I don't have a specific window. Like I don't need kill zones to trade. I just use higher time frame candles. That's it. So. What do you think of trades taken before FOMC? I don't really care for them that much. I don't really like to trade prior to FOMC, the day of. When did you first become profitable and what times do you really focus on? 5-minute. Hourly 5-minute. Daily hourly 5-minute is what I focused on. Today you were bullish on gold. Made a candle 2 yesterday, also taking previous day high and low. Yeah, so it's just more so the structure of it where it opened, didn't really take anything significant. Yes, we have SMT there, but it just trading lower and it swept this. I'm just thinking, okay, we're going to form a new low. Could be right here. It's more of a structure / range trade. If you look, price isn't really trending. So I favor everything back into the range and gold bullish, so just up to the upside. But it doesn't cancel my bullish bias, right? It's just more of a range. Right? What time frame do you usually look for a swing point? Well, I use a daily closure normally for a bias, and then it's either 4 hour, hourly, 30, sometimes even lower in certain cases, but mostly it's on the hourly or 4 hour. That's my main focus. Just a lot easier. So I'm kind of expecting to move higher on FOMC because we have this reversal. This isn't clear down here, right? But let's see. As long as, yeah, it's actually not that nice. So, do you consider this an ICCISD if it occurs before it? Yeah, I actually have a video going. Well, here, let me show this. You want to see a better close on this candle, the candle 3. Right here. You want to see this candle here close over both. And that's like, I have a video in my lessons. It's like the CISD and ICCISD occurring at the same time. And if this is open a new candle, now you have a protected swing right at the open a new candle. So that's actually a good positional entry higher. So yeah, I like those. Sometimes I drill outside my house and all I hear is like the thing moving, screaming. What is ICCISD? I would go through my course and that will be the easiest way to learn it. Do you ever use the failure swing CSD? And generally not for candle 2. No, not really ever. When targeting failure swings, how do you determine which failure swing is the proper target? I mean, I just kind of, simply put, you just don't really care for all the failure swings. You just take the external range, high or low. The only time that's a bit different is sometimes if it's a protected swing. So if we go to gold, for example, right? This is technically a failure swing to that, right? But here, I'll show you. This is technically a failure swing to that, right? But since this is a protected low, sometimes I do use this as a target, right? Similar thing, that the protected low, so sometimes I use this as a target. But most of the time, in the case like here, I don't really see a reason we should reverse off this. I'd rather just see us hit that. And then at that rate, why don't we just hit that, right? So then I'm generally just looking for that as a target. Hi T, what are your thoughts on this? That's not a trade I would take, personally. And can you tell me why? Who can tell me why I would not take this trade? There's no candle closure to short this. There's no swing point, right? And with no swing point, you don't go any lower, right? So this is not something I would take. Right, so if we go to silver, right? What time frame is that on? Is that on the hourly? I don't know when that was. Yeah, this is getting recorded. I don't know what time frame that is on or where it is. Oh, it's a 5-minute. Look, there's no candle to closure here, bullish or bearish, right? It's actually technically a bullish setup. That's why there's that. So you do the hourly to make the swing point, but don't wait for it to close, right? You make the entry on the CIC 5-minute. My trade yesterday is more advanced. My model is waiting for the closure and then trading. So not trading the first reversal. It's waiting for the continuation. And that's why even on the lower time frames there, I still waited for a continuation. Does that make sense? Do you prefer to enter on the 5-minute or the 1-minute? I prefer the 15-minute or the hourly, honestly. I prefer the higher time frames. There's just specific cases where I'll refine down to the lower. So you wait for 1 hour CISD and then down to the, you don't need to wait for an hourly CISD. It's just sometimes that is what is needed. It's either a CISD or a candle closure. 6N. Yeah, we can go look at 6N. Daily? Bullish? Yeah, unless AUD. I'm not a huge fan of it because it's more of a consolidation, but it does look like a continuation higher. Looking to short to those lows. This isn't something I'm really wanting to short. Sure, it has a bearish setup here, but that's early in the day, right? Sweep, going. Now you have SMT. Yes, it doesn't reach those lows, but this is now bullish. V-shape reversal, that's bullish. So you usually do wait, but yesterday you didn't. It depends. I've been trading my model quite some time now to where I can do some things that are not completely mechanical, but others might want to keep it more mechanical. So I wouldn't look to short on 6N personally. Would you consider that high, the red line, protected? Yeah, I would consider that protected. Or no, not that. After it sweeps, yes, but there's no opposing candle there. You know? Like, let me pull it up. There's no opposing candle here. So the only protected thing is the actual high. Right? There's nothing there. Kind of a consolidation. So once it sweeps, yes, now this is protected. But there's no point of interest. There's nothing there really. I'm just struggling lately when it comes to when I should enter. Like I usually wait for the CST on the high time frame, but it's too late for me to enter because the stop's so big. That's when you can normally adjust your position size a little. Or you can refine stuff down a little. I'm wanting to see if this occurs. Not a great look till it closes over. Let's see. I would need some examples, Lito, to be able to help you a little bit better. Let me see. Based on your explanation, this will be better. Like hourly with C2 closure. Let me see. I would need to see the higher time frames, but yeah, that's candle 2 closure and then the 5-minute swing point following. On FOMC day, are you still full sized after data? There's a clean setup. I don't really trade after that. If I'm going to trade it, like if I was going to trade this right now, I would be on options, doing something like towards this high. And then I would be able to hold into FOMC. And the reason for options is I have limited risk. When you started, how did you approach backtesting? So I have a whole video on how I backtested. It's on YouTube, but it's testing in hindsight. That's how I approach it. Because that's the best approach in my eyes. You test stuff in hindsight. But I also never really trade FOMC days, by the way, guys. Like, it's not really worth it to me most of the time. Yeah, that video. Like, we're going to get price action that kind of looks like this for the next 2 hours. Sorry to say, most likely. Yeah. Not really much to do. That's why there's like nothing to review, so it's more question based. So we'll actually just do this. Like clean. And then we can just answer any questions here. Might be a dumb question. When you talk about waiting for a candle closure to enter, what are you looking at? So it's on the time frame that I'm on. So for instance, let's go to the ES, the one I traded yesterday. Is that it? Right. When I say candle closure, I'm meaning the next candle needs to close over this level, right? So let's say I was doing this one, right? let's say it looks something like this. We had SMT. If I said candle closure, right, I'm looking for this next candle to close over this level because it's the down close candles. Oh, it doesn't, right? So now I'm not looking at that low. Now I'm waiting for another candle. So the main thing for me, normally you want this to be swept out, but we have SMT. When I say candle closure, I'm just meaning I need a closure over this level. This price closed here, which is over this level. So then it validates this low for me. So it's all specific to whatever time frame you're looking at. Does that make sense, Trader Joe? T, looking at EU and G right now, looks like it's making buy side failure swings to be taken. You got to realize, guys, that the Fed is going to announce rates. So right now, I don't expect price to be doing anything really. Yeah. So dollar, I think, is bearish. That's what you mean. I would be focused on pound personally reaching here. But I'm not going to try to trade this into FOMC. You know? But I think this is bullish. Let's go to random days and backtest. Sure, what asset you want to do? NQ. Can't you do like a random date thingy? Can't you just go to random date? I thought there was a way to do that. Random bar. Perfect. All right. No, I'm not. I would remember February. That's the thing. So I need it to be like a random day. Right. Multiple days up. Sweep this high out. We could be looking for a move lower. Right. We have a candle 2 closure. Structure is not amazing. But if we're going to move lower, we're going to come into this area, form a high, trade it lower. Really kind of low expectations for this. Let's see. All right. So let's see how we open up. What session you guys want me to trade? It won't go. It's lagging. Well, I can't even go forward. Oh, we're in New York. That's helpful. I would see if we get a reach up into here though. Either some sort of SMT or just reach up and then trade it lower into that low. I don't know what's going on because it actually won't let me. Data point unavailable. I can't even go to the 5-minute. Can I go 15? Can't let me go ahead either. Oh, no, it will let me go ahead. That's not quite helpful because I wanted to see the hourly. What time is it? 12:45. What? Bruh. Quite far ahead. That's not helpful. Got to use the actual contract? Bro, there's no way I remember the actual contract is the thing. Anyways, you remember what I was saying before it just skipped ahead? That I would have wanted to see a reach into here. To then short it towards this low. We have that. Let's see if we can still catch a continuation. We might be able to catch 3-minute continuation. It's quite suspect. It's not very good risk to reward. Can't close below. Good, yeah. Not very fun. It's also not very clear. Okay, let's see. If this high is going to remain right here, then this will form the high. It'll be like that. Nope. Doesn't seem to be doing that. This is usually when I don't trade this session, so we're gonna go to a new day. Why won't it let me skip ahead on the daily or on like the hourly? Anyone know why? This is like the worst backtesting experience I've ever had. Okay, we're now into the next day at the end of next day. Excuse me. All right, well, most likely now, I don't know what is happening. NQH. Maybe I can do that. NQH, what is it, 2020? I don't even know what year I'm in. We're in 2011, bro? No wonder the data won't load, man. We're gonna go to a new one. Hopefully it's like not 2000. Yeah, 2003. Okay. Let's do this until we're like, okay, 2020. This is before I started trading, so we're fine. Okay. Let's see. Nice, they give us a Friday, Monday. Weekly open. This is not very helpful. Anyways, we're probably just gonna intraday profile this because there's not much on the daily chart. Oh, it's at New York already. All right. If I saw this, I would be favoring a move to the range low. Right there, we have a 30-minute closure. 9:30 closes below. I'd watch for, I can't look for a 3-minute, so that's great. I also can't look for a 5-minute, so there's no way to refine this down, but I would be watching to see. We can do something like this and then trade lower. Yo, this backtesting, not amazing. Also, by the way, I'm not interested in that anymore. It traded lower right away. This is the candle I would have wanted to catch. I can't even see what it looks like inside, but it seems like it went like this. Boom, and then it went boom, boom, and then just died. Quite lame. Maybe we do something like a random day, maybe in like 2022. How about that? Maybe something that I can use the 5-minute chart. 23. Maybe we'll do this. I don't know what it looks like. I don't. All right. All right. What are we in? July 2022. Cool. So this is saying continuation lower. Open just went higher. It's going to be more interesting to the new month. But building up failure swings, taking out a range high into technically a protected high. So I would be bearish for the next day as well, because candle 2 closure, candle 3. Let's see. This would have been nice to trade. Let's see if we can get a continuation. All right, it just won't let me move stuff ahead. I want to see more of this print out. If it consolidates, then I'll look for a run of this high. Trade lower. If it kind of just does this, then it will just die. But I can't. I don't know what it's doing. Anyways, London reversal, New York continuation would have actually been nice to trade. Trade this. Maybe we can refine this time. This is quite lame. It won't let me go to the 1 minute. All right. Yeah, we need to actually use a backtesting software, but that's a short, by the way. Small daily wick is the most important thing here. It won't even show the daily candle. Anyways, price opens. consolidates, displaces, retracement, displacement, retracement. It's just a sell all the way until probably New York or PM session, and then PM session just probably retraces back up. Yeah. Oh, nice. It opens up and rips higher. Yeah, we're gonna have to do this on like an actual backtesting software, not TradingView. Otherwise, I can't really do it. But we can anticipate things. Yeah. Range discount took that out. This is now quite bullish to these highs. Before I just want to sell it again. Be like a. This is quite frustrating actually. So I'm giving up on that. If only you could partner with backtesting software company. I do have one, yeah, correct. I just don't want to go log in and show everyone my login and then like figure out the screen sharing without doxing myself. Need to plan that a little more. Anyways, what do you think about this position on YM today? So you took the 4-hour candle closure. So you said this, which this is fine, right? Because you have sweep of previous day low, you can look long. You can trade this candle too if you want, or the continuation that follows. For me, I just like to go to the 15, right? We have a candle sweep, close over, retest, then trades higher. Now I'm assuming you wanted to take it on a lower time frame, so you're going to use like an hourly swing or the 30-minute swing. Let's see what you did. They're relatively both the same. Let's just go to the 5-minute. And then retraces into a fair value up, sweeps out a low, closes over. What area do you want to see respect? That. So then what you can do is either use a limit order, right? I don't like limit ordering over highs like this. So I would wait for another swing low to form. Candle 3 closure. And then I'd be trading it like this, something. But the thing is, that doesn't really give me much risk to reward. Let's see how you traded it. Oh, 15-minute, 1 minute. Yeah, that's valid as well. So 15-minute reaches into this fair value gap. Then you went and took a look at the 1 minute in there. Which, oops, you took the long here. Which is valid, yeah. I am just not a fan of the reversal trades, right? So like I'd much rather let this come back into here and form another low and then trade that away, or like the continuation falling. But it's valid, yeah. Would you be for or against trading NQAS during London on the 5-minute? I'd say if you're gonna trade London, I would focus on the 15-minute. It's just the liquidity is a lot lower in the overnight session, right? So over on the 1 minute, or the 5-minute. It's gonna be a lot more choppy, right? It's not, see how it's quite choppy? Right, the structure is not clear and then just kind of dies, right? Versus when you get into New York, you kind of just get some more movement. Obviously, this is not the best day before Fed, but if you go up to the 15-minute, it's going to clear that up most of the time for you a little bit more. But I would be more for trading it on the 15-minute or a slightly higher time frame. Why is that on a reversal day you'll likely not get a 1-hour continuation? Okay, so let's go talk about it on NQ here, or YM, because it is a reversal day. So here's a reversal day. If you have a reversal day that's actually worth trading, it's going to have what? A small wick or a large wick? Who can answer? A small wick, correct, right? Because that then supports expansion. If it has a large wick, then when you wait for the next day, right? So now tell me, if it has a small wick and supports expansion, and you have, this isn't amazing, but you have this hourly change in the state of delivery, you don't really want to see price just hang around, spend another 3 or 4 hours forming a continuation to then go, right? That's only ever going to happen if you have price form that low in Asia or London, and then New York can maybe give you that continuation, right? But especially something like this with a New York reversal, you're not going to get that hourly continuation, because if you do, at that rate, it's just consolidation, right? If this would have closed and then came back into the range, this is just consolidating, right? You're not really going to get that hourly continuation unless, let's see if we can find a very specific scenario. I kind of have to do the timing of it. Nope. Let me go to daily, actually. Go something like gold. That one should probably have it. Right? There we go. This is an example of where when you may find it is we sweep out our previous day low, small wick, CISD. This is one where you may find a continuation. Why? Because it formed the low so early on that you might actually find an hourly continuation, right? But most of the time, it's not really going to give it to you. That's why it's just easier to trade the next day. Does that make sense, Savage? Versus if you wait for this next day, you already have the reversal here. If we have a continuation, you're likely to have that form on. I think my replay just is not working. It's not even working on this today. You're likely to have a continuation there. Right. A small wick supporting expansion. Yes. I won't read the rest of the sentence. So, any other questions we have? There's really not much to talk about until, like, this is a day you want to stay away. Does that make sense for the most part? Look at the price action today. Granted, yes, YM has its move. That's fine. But for the most part, look at, right? Bitcoin, what's your question on Bitcoin? I don't really have any ideas on it. It had a massive expansion. What follows a massive expansion? New phase of price. Is that a retracement? Goes a little bit too low for a retracement for me, right? Okay, do we expand out of there? No. Now we have kind of this expansion, but this is now a retracement of this. So like to me, I can frame it either way. I can frame it as swept there, continuation, lower. I can also frame it as is swept out this, hourly close through, continuation. So I can frame it both ways, so it's not interesting to me. Make sense? It's just not something I would trade. Like that's not a clean daily setup to me versus there are clean daily setups. Here's kind of an example of a continuation that does form, right? But you see when it makes the low super early in the day, then it forms a continuation. It closes through. Now you have a continuation, right? Kind of the only time it will do it. Versus like this, what does it do? Forms its reversal more into New York. You don't really want to see a continuation form because then it's choppy. It just goes. Is BTC the correct chart? I use BTC USDT for spot. And then for like futures, it would just be micro Bitcoin futures. If you want to trade it on that. I'm trading Forex and will look to get 2 to 3 setups a week using daily, hourly, 5-minute. Trade New York and Asia session. How many pairs would you recommend looking at? I'm looking at all majors. So I would approach it more in the way of, actually looks okay to the highs. I look at more in the case of, I'm going to look at dollar, right? If I have a dollar bias, and if you watch my trade review video I posted today, it will probably help, but if I have a dollar bias, which is bearish, right? Well, then I just want to pair that with a strong currency. So for instance, I can look at the currency futures, what's very strong, NZD, the Swiss franc is actually ripping, right? CAD, any of these, right? You just would not really use JPY. All the other ones are kind of valid. Like that's when I could then look at, GBP, USD. So I'm just going to look for anything against the dollar there, right? And you have a decent movement today, right? It's not amazing, but you have a movement, right? So I never look at, like, you'll see me pull up a bunch of currencies. I don't look at those actively. I'm just pairing them with the futures, right? So if you go to my analysis yesterday, right, I was bullish on the dollar, right? So I was bullish on this day on the dollar, right here, right? Bullish here into this high, into this gap. So with that, I would want to find something that what is weak. So what was weak? Yen was weak. So that's why then you would focus on the yen or what? USD JPY. And you see that gets the expansion. Versus if you focused on something like USD, AUD USD, it's not really going to have much movement, right? Because you're pairing things that are strong and strong. So I don't just look at random stuff. I just kind of, if I'm bullish on the dollar, I'm looking for something bearish, then you can pair them together. So I don't look at, I don't look at all of them. I just type them in. Could you go over weekly profiling? If TradingView will allow it. I know it's the same as daily, but for some reason I get screwed up with making a bias. So here's the thing is you don't really have to overthink weekly profiling. All weekly profiling is using candle closures, right? So for instance, we'll go to something that's like, I don't know, the dollar right here, right? Or I'm trying to think of one that has a better weekly profile lately. Nothing really has been great. Yeah, give me 1 second. Okay. I still want to see that trade higher, but all it is you're using the daily candle closures, right? So for instance, we'll just use a line like this, right? You don't really need to be an expert in weekly profile to say, okay, I have a candle 2 closure here. I'm looking lower this day, right? Okay, it goes lower that day. I can look for a continuation, right? There, right? You just figure that out because what? This is a candle 2 closure, candle 3 continuation, candle 4 continuation, right? Now, if you want to put it into weekly profile terms, you have Monday opening up the week, trading higher Tuesday, Wednesday reverses. You have a Wednesday forming the high a week for a Thursday continuation, Friday continuation. But the thing is, if you just use my model in the daily closures, it's built into it without you having to think about it. That makes sense? It can add some confluence, yes, but you don't have to really overthink it. Can you rank 4-hour candles to trade for indices? I'm asking in reference to 6 a.m., 6 a.m., 2 p.m. I don't trade afternoon at all. So really it's just the 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. or 10 a.m. on. I don't really have a ranking. Like I'm not going to say this one's always better than that. All like that. AT, can you go over gold? 5-minute 9 a.m. loss. I just don't really like the, unless you traded, where did you trade? 9 a.m.? Oh, you're trading this long? Yeah. I mean, I can see that, yeah. Just the thing is Fed rates. That's the main thing. It's like, it's kind of waiting for that. You traded this, go to here. Gonna print that setup. All right, so I'd be waiting for what? A continuation, be a closure over this level. Okay, here this kind of expands too much for me, right? It's because I'm trading this on the open, my stop needs to be down here or so, and then I'm not a huge fan of this, just in terms of the daily range, because what we open and trade lower first. So I'm more interested in looking back towards the daily open, which is right in here somewhere, right? You know what I mean? So it's like for me to enter this, I would prefer to get a better entry, take more off there. Now, how can I do this? I'm not that confident. I'd wait for another continuation. See if we can form a swing in here. Let's see. You took that, that's technically a valid loss. Wait, let's see. So now it's trading too low. I would have wanted this candle to react, put it in a swing. Let's see. No. All right, so that's kind of how I like to avoid those losses, right? When it expands too far, right? It's quite a big difference if, let's see if it does it, if I can show you. 1 minute. Let's say it closes like right here. Oh, it went too far. But if it closes like right there, you see how you're kind of entering as it's going before it takes out this high? That's my preference. But I mean, it's a valid loss, I guess. It's just for me, very big V-shaped reversal. This would kind of be my whole target. So am I getting 2R to that target? Not really. I think that'll make more sense if I pull up this. Right, you can see that's the daily open. You have a large wick. This doesn't really support expansion. Price takes too long to CISD and then fails. Sure. I mean, it's kind of like this in a way. It's kind of hard because this isn't clean, but this never formed a swing. So like this is kind of the actual move for the continuation here. That's the CISD because that's a sweep. I'm not going to use this singular candle because it didn't actually do anything. Like this is the whole move, right? Price can't form the CISD. Okay, so now it's coming back here. Okay, it takes out the low. Okay. Right, but now what is it doing? This is a consolidation, right? So then when it goes and runs out here, yes, it gets the close over here. This is where people make the mistake of, oh, it formed a new CISD, but it's actually just sweeping it high in a consolidation to then go lower. You know what I mean? Or if you're meaning something like, let me see if I can get an example. It's hard when I like try to search for something and never find it. I'm not searching for it. It just shows up. Kind of like this, right? Here we have a move that tries to go lower, right? To form a continuation lower. It can't form the CISD, so then it trades higher. You know what I mean? How do you know when it's taking too long? It's not like mechanical. It's just price is not making a nice V shape and doing its thing. Oh. Nice. There we go. I scalped some options in here for a long. Oh. Because my plan is just to hold 1 or 2 into FOMC. I'm bullish. Basically now 0 risk because my profit on that paid for the option. So that's why I out. Or not spy. I had the yes alert. Well, I deleted it, but it still went through my phone. All right. Any final questions? Nothing? Posted one above. On pairing the dollar with a strong, weak currency. When looking at dollar, are you looking for candle closure setups or structure to define? I just look for the fractal model. Because everything I do is just my model, right? So if I'm here on, let's say the 15 minute, right? I'm literally just looking for a 4-hour swing, 15-minute, and then that gives me a bias. But most of the time, all I'm looking for is the daily chart. And that's what I was saying. Yesterday I was bullish. Why? Well, we had a little candle 2 closure. Yes, it has a failure swing, but it's so close to previous day high, and the intraday structure is bullish. Then I'd want to pair against the yen. Today, it's what? Spoke about it. It's bearish. So if this is bearish, you want to pair it with what? A bullish currency. So then you look for anything that's bullish, right? Which is pound. Really anything except I don't like the yen, right? CAD, NZD, you can do any of that. And it's fine, right? So that's why today, like majors will look good. You give an example in this video that you have? New York reversal? I mean, I can give you an example with YM today. All it is we have some sort of point of interest, right? YM can't form any sort of reversal, right? It does reach into an important level. It can't form a reversal, right? It can't get the closure over. See that? That's what we're talking about. It can't get the closure over, makes a new low. So if price is going to go higher, it's going to form its reversal in New York. So then you go down to a lower time frame if you want, the 5-minute. What happens in New York? Right. I'll show you this. And so we have our daily open. We have a candle 2 closure with the CISD. And then it trades higher, right? So it's literally just that reversal. That's all it is. Any view on EUGU? Well, I am bearish on dollar. So what would that make me on GBP USD or Euro USD? I'm bearish on the dollar. Yeah. Bullish. We were talking about. If I want the most setups on Forex during London, what time frame should I trade? Do you mean like most? Like a lot of frequency? Like taking a lot of trades? Because like mechanically, if you want the most setups, you're trading like the 1-minute time frame, but that's absolutely stupid in my mind. So I would say focus on the 15-minute. But I have just seen what has made people profitable versus what hasn't. Trading the small time frames during London is probably not going to be good for you, to be honest. Trade the 15-minute time frame with the 4-hour, it's probably going to be decent. Right? Like, say I did this today. All right. There's that closure. Right? Could trade the reversal or could trade this continuation higher. Right? Not really a London setup here. It's bullish. And you could, I suppose, trade this continuation, but why is it bad? Because go look at your volume in London on Forex. Like it's, I don't know. Most people just are going to get lost in this. I'd get lost in it. Because you lose sight of what's actually going on. Like right here. Isn't that trading C2? Trading C2 is not a time frame dependent thing. It's a whatever closure you're trading. That GBP example. You mean on the 15-minute? Yeah, that would be trading candle 2, or you could wait for candle 3. Comes back here, continuation. Enter the continuation. I'm just gonna say that for most people, you're gonna have to test that for yourself. If you're the person that just wants a lot of trades, that's kind of the opposite of how I trade. So you're gonna have to figure it out for yourself there. I personally would just say I wouldn't focus on trading candle 2 unless like how long have you been trading my model, or like how long has it been since you went through my course? I'm assuming quite recently. Yeah, exactly. So I would not trade candle 2. Literally master the continuations and you'll learn how to trade the candle 2 just by mastering continuations. But I'll tell you this, if you try to run before you can walk, you're just going to fall over. Like that's it. I've seen it enough. And if you don't believe me, feel free to try. I'm just here to try to help. So you should get in on the retest. I don't take retests, right? So for instance, what I talked about earlier, let's say I wanted to say, hey, I want to get long in here, right? I'm not going to be the person that enters like this because it's either going to do that or it's going to do this, right? Well, why not, instead of losing like that, why don't I just wait to see if it forms a swing point? Okay. Goes here. Okay. Nice candle to closure. Oh, nice. It closes over. Now I can enter after the low is already formed, trading higher. Right? Because I don't like to trade when price is going against me. I like to just be on side with it and it just goes. Either works, honestly. There's not, just don't overthink it. You can trade either the candle fours or either of them. Like they're gonna have different opening times, correct? But it doesn't really matter. Right, like this is gonna be a 5 versus this is gonna be a 6 a.m. one. What time do you enter most of the trades? Does it matter? Most of my trades are between, I would say, 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. But then I have some that are outliers that are like, oh, an Asia trade, stuff like that. Yeah. My question for you really quick before I end the stream is why, Eom, why do you want to get more trades? Like, why do you want a ton of trades? That's my question for you. I don't really use the projections that much, honestly. It's more about just timing of things. Because most people say they want more trades to make more money. But most of the time how it works out is you're going to lose more and make less money than if you take less trades. And maybe, let me just pull this up. Hopefully he doesn't mind. Let me, all right, we're going to go into, so in 2.0 we have TradeZilla for people. Why is 8 to 10? Is there a reason? I mean, that's just normally when I wake up and then I like the open and right after the open. There's no like big reason. Let me see real quick.